Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I'm feeling outclassed and outnumbered.
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
And outnumbered is correct, Remington, because as all of the lovely people who have the ability to read a podcast title know, we in fact have a very special guest today. Today, we are joined by the lovely Mitsugi from the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, and he is here to share his insights into the lovely world of anime. Mitsugi, welcome to the show.
Listen, I'm just happy to be here, and I join you in my best and final form. Much like Frieza, I am as naked as I can possibly be. Without being fully naked, I am sitting in my straight-up underwear just for you guys. I thought it would be the most appropriate way to podcast today.
That's the podcasting outfit, isn't it? I mean...
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't wear pants when you're podcasting.
Never.
It is against the rules. If you want to have a successful podcast, the pants have to come off.
Socks are right out.
No.
They inhibit your talking muscles.
Get that shit out of here. That's right. Well, guys,
Closest you're allowed is a very weeby slipper.
listen, Sean, we had you over on episode 574 of our podcast, and I had such a great time talking with you that day that I thought I'd come join you guys. So
you've just invited yourself on our show. Is that how it works?
we didn't even invite him out. He was just like, I'm here now. Let's record.
I felt a special connection that day, and I just needed I needed to confirm that it was real, and that's why I'm here today. But no, seriously, guys, I am probably the oldest podcaster in the history of the world. We've been podcasting for like almost 12 years, and we're on episode 583 now. If you want to check out our aged and humble podcast, you can do it over at aaapodcast.com. And, just watch me mull around in like my walker with the tennis balls on the bottom. That's pretty much how it'll be. And I'll fall down much like Master Roshi. So.
Yes, but are
Truly,
you more
our
or less of a
podcast
pervert?
stands on the shoulders of giants here.
I'm definitely... no one can possibly be more of a pervert than Master Roshi. So...
This is very true. Except for like every other light novel author these days. Like, my Christ.
I'm just hoping that this isn't some like fucked up foreshadowing of whatever the anime is this week.
Oh, Rem, do you think I would do that to a guest on our show? That I would put them through the ringer of some really torturous moe, sexy bullshit type of show?
I wouldn't put it past you.
Are we gonna watch Super Lovers?
No. Probably not this time, and I don't know if Rem would be able to properly handle that one.
Oh, God.
There's that new Fireman show that got a sequel. What is that called? Yubi Saki Kara Honki Netsujo. Oh, we should watch that.
I heavily disagree.
I am both confused and afraid of this conversation and the direction it's taken.
It's okay, Rem. Like, as folks are aware, you are not really in tune with the anime community, and you don't hear a lot about the more external sides of the anime community, is the way I'm going to phrase that.
Yeah,
So really, you're better off not knowing at this point.
Remy, can I call you Remy?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I can't call you Rem because I just picture you like frolicking in a maid outfit somewhere in ReZero. But just come sit next to Grandpa Mitsugi. It'll all be okay, and have a Werther's original, and it'll be fine.
This is a bit strange. It's a bit like looking into like a dark mirror of our future, Remington.
Hey, listen. With all due respect, if I am still watching anime a decade down the line, something's gone wrong in my life. That may be your dream, Sean. It's just not mine.
You'll be just like us.
Oh, God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that is many people's dream. But...
Don't worry, Rem. You'll understand where we come from one day. But for right now, we actually have an anime to talk about today. which is very rare for this show. I'm sure you're
yes.
aware, Remington. It's a currently airing anime this time around. We've been doing a lot of currently airing ones recently, just because we gotta rake in the views somehow, right?
We're so hippin' with it.
Yeah, we know exactly what the kids are into these days, which is why we brought Mitsugi.
Yeah, the kids
Love me.
And today is a very interesting show, to say the least. It is a lovely show by the title of Tokyo Revengers. Remington, have you heard of this one before at all?
The only, like, grasping at straws similarity is Tokyo Ghoul, which I can hardly remember in of itself. But other than that, I got no clue. It sounds like some shonen bullshit.
Good news, Remington. It is nothing like Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Except in maybe there's a little bit of that good edge involved.
Okay. Is it shonen bullshit like I guessed?
Well, it does technically have the shonen tag.
Wait, why am I asking
it.
you? Let me ask the one who knows everything. Mitsugi, is it shonen bullshit?
I haven't watched this anime. I mean, why would I spoil the experience? Listen, I'm too fixated on the fact that, as so often happens with our anime, Revengers is in fact confirmed to not be a word. So
Yep.
I had to confirm that. And, you know, I was watching Blue Seed the other night, an ancient anime from like the Action Channel. It's on Retro Crush. And there's a lyric in the opening theme song where they say, "Mysterious Tokyo, give me your foxy night." And I was like, what does that exactly mean? And I'm like, exactly. It's always about trying to figure out what the hell these Japanese titles and lyrics mean. Just like, I don't know what a Revengers is. So I know what
I'm happy to share this foxy night with you boys.
Aw. I didn't realize I was going to get sweet and romantic in this episode. This is more than I bargained for. I was expecting like a nice good spread of anime experience across the board to keep things interesting. But instead, we're getting a little saucy.
Never
We're
say
a
spread
wholesome-
to a man in his underwear, okay?
We are a wholesome, albeit somewhat naked, Christian podcast, all about proper, wholesome, pure things.
Which is why we're talking about Tokyo Revengers today. And in wholesome anime fashion, Tokyo Revengers really begins with a very sad excuse of a man.
All right, so main character Sean, what's next?
Okay, hold on. Listen here, bud. Listen here. Just because the main character is kind of a wimp and kind of a wet blanket does not automatically mean that I am the perfect analog for this character.
Dropping hot rocks.
Especially considering that this character in junior high was the exact opposite of me.
All right. Tell me more, Sean. Sorry for interrupting.
No. Completely fair. This is one of the new anime of the spring 2021 season. It is currently airing. It currently has 13 episodes as of this recording. And it is by the studio known as Leiden Films. The reason you don't recognize that name, Remington, is because we have not covered an anime from that studio.
Okay.
Except for, I believe, Cells at Work, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yes. Although I could be misremembering my studios because it turns out there's a lot of anime studios out there in the world. Japan specifically. But this one is a kind of mystery anime,
Ooh.
Remington.
Intriguing.
Yes. But as all good mysteries start, it starts with our wimpy protagonist. Takamichi Hanagaki is kind of just a very sad adult, kind of moving from dead-end job to dead-end job, just kind of meekly moving through life and not really enjoying himself. He's kind of just a really sad, young adult. We all went through that phase in like our early 20s where we're just thinking, well...
Wait, does it end? Don't give us hope
Someday it
if
will.
there's no hope.
Look, I have to assume that in the greater world, there are some people that are put together. People that don't make anime content on the internet. Those are the people that I assume have it all under wraps and under control. But
Yeah, I suppose we have a bit of a skewed sample size here.
yeah, it's a little weighted on one side of the spectrum, unfortunately. And one day, Takamichi is just having a kind of a normal, boring day when on the news, he hears a shocking tale of a gruesome murder and a name he recognizes. The murder of his first and only girlfriend in his entire life, back from when he was in junior high, was recently brutally murdered in a armed conflict in the middle of Tokyo. So it was
lovely.
a gang-based conflict. So, nice, happy, cheery start. So, feeling sad and depressed about that, he just kind of continues about his day. And until he gets to the subway station, or the train station, either way, I can't remember off the top of my head which it is, but I'm pretty sure it's just a normal train station because Tokyo doesn't have a whole lot of subways, if I recall correctly. I've got New York on the brain. Don't know why.
Basically the same. No
Basically
difference.
the same. Tokyo, New York, what's the difference? Except for, decades upon decades of culture, but that's fine. And he gets to the train station and is just kind of mulling about things in his head when suddenly he is pushed in front of the train.
Train-kun.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Train-kun, the lesser-known cousin of Truck-kun and Bus-chan, has come to claim another victim, during which his entire life flashes before his eyes.
The whole anime is a flashback inside his mind?
Well, kind of, but also not.
All right, so let me get. Is it going to be like good old Groundhog Day solve murder?
Bill Murray's in this?
Bill Murray is my favorite magical girl.
Bill Murray is my waifu.
I thought I was your waifu.
Oh, it all comes out.
Look.
I thought we had a thing, okay?
I didn't want to tell you this, but after I saw Bill Murray in Groundhog Day for the at least 7th time, I realized that the only option remaining was that I have to demote you to husbando. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
I didn't want it to go this far.
You think
but,
you know a guy.
But Bill Murray just has that special place. At least until next season when something inevitably replaces it, because anime fans are fickle.
I would cheat on you with Bill Murray too, to be fair, so it's all good.
Hey, my girlfriend is very much aware that Bill Murray is my celebrity cheat.
All right, so are we getting? Is Bill Murray the star of this anime, Sean?
Well, considering I already told you that the main character is kind of a wet blanket wimp, no.
Oh.
But he gets pushed in front of this train, and we get this massive flashback to what he views to be the best time of his life. His second year of middle school, which, oof.
Oh no.
Listen, folks, if your second year in middle school is what you genuinely consider to be the highlight of your entire life, that's some real sad stuff.
Do you guys ever just wonder, like, have I lived my best day or my best year, and it'll just never get better than that moving forward? You guys ever just ponder that in the covers late at night, sobbing over some Ben and Jerry's?
I mean, in Japan,
know-
starting in high school, they pretty much push people through a really grueling education system, and then they have to enter the Japanese workforce. So if you're ever wondering why so many anime are like about middle schoolers, I think it's because that's pretty much the best time of your life,
That's the peak.
as sad as that is.
Yeah, cultural differences, man, they
fuck.
are heavy-handed. But in this comedy podcast,
Lies.
we like to talk about some fun things. And what's funner than reliving his second year of middle school, which he views to be the best time in his life. It was a time when he had a girlfriend, and he was actually also a full-on delinquent, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Bleached blonde hair, walked around with a gang, tried to be one of those really cool tough guys that walk around with those super baggy pants and like oversized uniforms. Very, very reminiscent of the Yankee style of the late 80s and early 90s.
I love it.
And yeah, no. And he flashes back to this time and he's like, yes, this is a very vivid flashback as I am currently about to die. And is just reminiscing that whole time when he starts to realize, hang on a second, that's not exactly how I remember this happening. And he suddenly realizes that he isn't so much having a flashback as much as he is back in his younger self's body. He has done essentially a mental time leap.
Okay. And so is he going to try and stop the murder of this girl now?
Oh. Predictions.
You hit the nail on the head,
Bing
Remington.
bong.
Yes, because this is a bit of a time-traveling murder mystery story. And what better way to solve crimes than by stopping them before they could even possibly happen? And maybe fixing his life in the process. It's hard to say.
I love delinquent anime. I loved him in Slam Dunk. Eikichi Onizuka is my spirit animal, 100%. And I can just hope that they beat the hell out of each other the way that they do in Slam Dunk and Yu Yu Hakusho. That would be so fantastic. I'm hoping for it.
Oh, that would be really good, wouldn't it? Come to think of it, we have not done Yu Yu Hakusho or Slam Dunk on this show yet.
Well,
I'm
they're very
vaguely
long.
familiar with one of those.
I mean, we've done well over 160 episodes at this point, and we just haven't touched those yet. I might need to bump those up in the schedule because it's been a while since we've done a good, strong anime from the 90s.
Do you guys go after anime that are that long? Because that's pretty long stuff.
Generally speaking, we try to do first looks, first and foremost. And if
Gotcha.
we get enough requests, we'll come back and revisit things. Like for this anime, we're only going to watch the first 3 episodes, just to start with. And we'll have a good discussion about it, and we'll see what everybody thinks. If this is a good premise, if they are executing it well, if the wet blanket can relive his days as a young delinquent effectively, or if he just is a wet blanket delinquent surrounded by actual delinquents. And maybe we'll see part of a mercy. Part of a mercy.
It'll be okay.
I speak on the internet for entertainment purposes, folks. Part of a mystery get set up and partially solved. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. But if not, tearing it apart should be quite a bit of fun. You guys have
Sounds
any
good.
questions before we jump into it?
I don't.
I just can't wait to go along with this kid on his journey when he peaked in middle school. And he's gonna fix that too while he's solving the murder. So
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe I'll learn what it means to truly live.
From a Japanese middle school delinquent.
and maybe I'll put pants on.
We'll see.
Plot twists could happen. So without further ado, let's jump in to some Tokyo Revengers.
Previously,
My girlfriend is very much aware that Bill Murray is my celebrity chief.
Much like Frieza, I am as naked as I can possibly be.
up next,
Butt chug.
You pulled your dick out, smacked it on the table, but the other guy just has a butcher knife and is ready to chop it off. And why? Why did you do that? Speaking of getting laid for a moment, does anybody find it weird?
now back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after consuming 3 whole episodes of 2021's Tokyo Revengers. And Remington, Mitsugi, I really want to know what you think about these time-traveling gangster kids. So let's get straight into it, shall we?
You know, I am going to
let's do it.
I'm going to defer to our lovely guest to give some of their thoughts first before I start.
Are you trying to cater your words so that you don't offend our lovely guests or find the most?
No.
Good luck with that.
I'm hoping they agree with me so that people will get angry at him before they get angry at me. But we'll see how it goes.
Oh. Do you have a regularly enraged fan base?
Yes.
Oh, people are going to be very, specifically at me. They're going to be angry at me today. Let me put it that way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Let me put it to you this way, Mitsugi. One of our most listened to episodes is our Attack on Titan
Oh,
episode.
God.
And some of the most death threats we've gotten for doing this show
Wow.
have been in regards to the Attack on Titan episodes.
Most people, they can kindly disagree, but there's a subsection that, oh no.
Go fucking light yourself on fire and die, you assholes.
I think that's a
Yeah,
word-for-word
yeah.
email. Did you send that
There's
one in?
the spirit.
Jeez.
So Mitsugi, what were some of your thoughts on Tokyo Revengers?
Well, I thought there was entirely not enough pompadour. In a delinquent anime, I must measure the sort of efficacy of the show based on the strength of its pompadours. You measure it in total combined inches across the cast, I don't think there was a single person that even stacked up to what Kuwabara would have.
To be
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah, there were some.
Kuwabara.
There were some sort of pompadours, but no, there wasn't any true pomp action.
There was no full commitment to the pomp action.
Yeah.
As a fully bald man who goes with the shaved head look, I truly appreciate the brazenness of a pompadour. It's just very nice. We all want what we can't have, so to speak. But in all seriousness, the I do like these sort of delinquent anime sort of themes quite a lot. I'm a huge fan of Slam Dunk, just because I love sports, but also because it's just this fantastic, first 25 episodes of just delinquent kids just beating each other senseless. Eikichi Onizuka is one of my favorite anime characters of all time. I think he's just completely fantastic. I love the delinquent aspect of Yu Yu Hakusho and so many other shows, and so this one has a pretty solid amount of that. So I definitely enjoy the show for that aspect of it. I don't know. I guess I'm not really into too much of like the cutesy stuff. So I'll take like delinquent kids bludgeoning each other with bats and stuff like that. But before I'll take like the girls from K-On! Like having their third round of strawberry shortcake. And I think
they can fight, but they shan't love.
That's right.
They have to be dark and edgy and violent. That's like a proper delinquent kid. As soon as they start talking about romance, that's when things go south.
Sean, get me my bat.
I will say that was one of the better moments.
Yep.
I'm enjoying the anime pretty well. We'll talk about it more, but I will say that the main character, what the hell? These names, I'm never gonna get these names right in this show. They are. I'm watching the dub, and the names are pretty. The only name I can remember is Sano, and even that is sort of not a typical name for a Japanese person. I think it would be Asano.
Yeah, it's all a little bit weird. To give some of my thoughts, beginning introductory thoughts. I unfortunately, Sean, we haven't covered like too many delinquent style things. It's more like it's been a theme sometimes.
Yeah, there's occasionally delinquents. I think the closest we've gotten to a delinquent anime is actually Mob Psycho 100, if I'm thinking about it.
I don't think that quite cuts it.
No, but it's got a lot of delinquents in it, so.
Yeah, and I will say I was not super impressed by that side of things. It just feels like even dumber action shonen. Like it felt like, okay, instead of any cool powers or anything, they're just allegedly middle schoolers, and I did not care about any of the fighting. It all felt dumb, gratuitous. There was no stakes, and like the fighting itself, maybe it would be neat if there were some decent action sequences. I didn't think that there was. And then the time traveling bits, I think, are really, really, really dumb. Just not well thought out in the least. Yeah, I was not a fan. So that's my introductory thoughts.
So you're committed to pissing people off, I see. What a rare stance for you to take, Remington. Fully committing to the idea of making people
Remy.
upset.
Let's delve into the specific episodes and what's going on. We'll give our thoughts about that. We opened the show with being introduced to oh god, what's the main character's name even?
Takamichi.
Takamichi, he has this terrible messy room. He gets news about the ex. He's living a terrible life, etc., etc. Right? He dies as
He's
you
a
covered.
loser.
Yeah. And he wakes up from death and he's in middle school, and already he's in the episodes we've seen, he's woken up a couple times, and every time he's like, what? Oh yes, I remember. This is what was going on in my life at the time, and this is when this happens. Oh wait, what's this? Oh, okay, I remember. It was something like this. And it's like, I don't need him. He completely forgot about like these very formative moments. I can accept maybe you forget about the details, but some of these are like the formative moments of his whole life, but because he needs to explain it to the audience, he has to go through an entire monologue remembering it. Wasn't a fan of that at all.
He's just a sad kid, he's he's never seen a boob.
Yeah.
He didn't actually say that.
Absolutely tragic.
But I'm pretty much gonna assume that because he said he was a virgin, and he's.
Well, I guess they do talk. They had a lot of like magazines and stuff.
But does that really count?
In episode 1. So
really.
He's never seen a boob in real life, but he's at least gotten the mags.
Unless the magazine is sitting on a couch in the middle of the woods, I just don't think it really counts.
It's not real. It's not true.
His life does suck, and I recall that at some point in the first 2 or 3 episodes, he said that he peaked in like his second year of middle school. I mean, that's pretty sad.
Yep.
So, but I mean, they're trying to set up. I think they're trying to set up a character that eventually is going to become, a la like Chihiro from Spirited Away. You're gonna start off like really meek and weak, and by the end of the show, they're gonna be a total recreation of what they were. And so my suspicion is that they're starting him off pretty low because by the end of the show, he'll be a totally different sort of character. That's what I'm hoping for.
And I mean,
it looks like it's in that direction. Although I have problems with the sort of direction I think it's going, but I'll talk about that in episode like 2 or 3. But yeah, so then he meets with his old crew and they're looking for a fight, and then they get their ass kicked by kids who are apparently just a year older.
They look way older though.
no.
It's like, this is supposed to be like 13-year-olds versus 14-year-old, but instead it's like 12-year-olds versus 22-year-olds minimum.
Look,
like,
you gotta eat your vegetables, kids. That way you can grow up to look like a full Yakuza by the time you're 14.
It's like in 1 year, these kids grew facial hair and learned how to shoot cocaine. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, man, when they hit third year in middle school, shit changes, man. Shit changes.
That's when we get
You
into
become
the
a total
JoJo
asshole,
era.
too.
Oh God.
That's another comment I wanted to make. I know you guys are going to cover the plot line, but these kids, especially the ones in what the hell's the gang called?
Who knows, dude?
The Tokyo Manji gang is that
the
one.
Tokyo Manji. None of them look like they're in middle school.
No, not even like a single one.
Not
You might
even
think
close.
like maybe have one of them. No, not a single one.
No, the closest is
They're
one.
a little. They're a little more in line with their age group than like the kids from Slam Dunk who look like they could be like 35-year-old men, but they've got like probably 16, 17-year-olds in Slam Dunk that are like as big as Shaquille O'Neal with twice as much facial hair. It's pretty hilarious.
I
but-
mean, it is the
wait.
JoJo school of teenager size, really, with how.
But see, for me, it loses a little bit of its luster because I think that for me, if I were to enjoy a delinquent anime, it would be sort of because like imagine if either of you guys have read The Outsiders, right? Stay Gold Pony Boy and whatnot. Like it would have that sort of feeling where there's an emphasis on youth through it all, but that is not present here at all because they just seem like adults. And it's adults with bad action in the fighting, and that's all it is. And but you know what? Okay, I'm not gonna beat that dead horse continually. They get their butts kicked by the third years. Later on you have Takemichi. He's at the park and he's all being a sad sack, right? And he stands up for the little brother of his girlfriend at the time, and they shake hands, and suddenly he's in the present. And he like tells the little brother, he's like, hey, remember this day, take care of your sister. And he teleport back to the present through the handshake where he survived. And then he sees the little brother who's now an adult and part of the police. And the brother is like, oh yeah, but also the sister is still dead though.
I honestly didn't find Hinata to be like all that cute though. She has sort of a, I don't know, she smacks of Railgun sort of her design. I don't know if it's the same designer or the same studio, but I don't know. I didn't find like they talk her up for quite a while. It's like she dies and he's all surprised by it and he's
she's
reminiscing
fine,
about how amazing she is, and I'm like, you're not quite as like stunning as some of these other anime girls generally are.
Yeah, for me, it was like personality-wise, she was very cookie cutter. It was standard, like she has a heart of gold and she's spunky, and that's her personality. She's compassionate and spunky, and that's it. And it's like, okay. I will note, I hate the sort of time traveling philosophy of this show. I like the methodology, right? Because how it essentially works, as is explained at the start of episode 2, based on nothing, just a single anomalous data point, and the brother is like, oh, this is exactly how it works. If you shake my hand, you will go back 12 years, 100%, always how it works.
To the 4th of July.
It's a bold
So we can set
conclusion.
fireworks off.
Hell yeah, dude. God bless America. It's a bold conclusion to make after, like, it happening exactly once. And so that's a bit ridiculous. But then further than that, I like the idea that, okay, you go back a set amount of time, and so once a certain time is passed, right, once it's further back than 12 years ago, that's locked in. I like that idea, right? But what I don't like is how there aren't many consequences. Like, you tell a child to protect his sister, right, and it saves him. It changes the timeline enough to save his life, but change literally nothing else at all. All of the things that Takamichi is changing by going back in time, it only affects exactly what they need it to affect. And also, they're dumb as bricks about it. They are so dumb because, okay, the goal is to save the girlfriend, right? Save Hina. And that's the goal. So there's a lot of ideas, but instead, the best idea is like, hey, make sure the two gang leaders don't meet. That's the only idea? There's so many better options.
Did they explain
why? Don't you tell Hina?
I know that she was run over by like a trucker or whatever for that the gang owned, but which is like these middle schoolers are really like stepping up their game because they're just, it's like they were these little punks in middle school and now they're like crashing trucks into storefronts and whatnot. But did did he?
Starting a teenage fight club is just a gateway drug to murdering girls with trucks. You know, that's just the way it goes.
First rule of Fight Club is
murder girls with trucks.
There you go.
But did they ever explain how or why they can't meet or whatever? I can't recall if the kid who turned into a cop actually said it or not.
He did. The basic idea is that to speak to your point, Remington, the idea was that yes, we could go back at that day, but they'd have to wait 12 years to go to the exact day to stop her from getting axed at that point. So they figured that the best way to go about it, since
Or here's an idea. You go back and you just tell Hina, hey, don't go to this festival on this day. Ever. Just don't do it.
That's too easy.
Just don't.
It's too easy, man. Come on.
Hell, you can go back. You could get the lottery numbers, win the lottery, and then be like, hey, let's get out of here. We're in middle school, but also we've been adults for 20 years. Let's get out of here. It'll be fine. Like, there's so many possible options that aren't the actual plan of, all right, let me go get my ass kicked for a while and then try and figure out something along these lines. I don't know what I'm doing. Who knows how I'll accomplish this?
We have contracts to meet. We have a certain episodes we need to fill. Don't fuck with the system, okay? Don't ask questions. Or the Tokyo Momiji Manju gang will come and spiral out a pompadour for you in your sleep. But it'll be on your ball area.
And it's not going to be a very good pompadour. It's just going to be just kind of a little wispy thing that barely goes over your forehead.
Man, your forehead. I'm talking about the nuts, son.
Yeah. Well, little nut pump.
I don't.
It just seems like the show is really, really dumb, and the brother is supposed to be super smart, but this is the plan that was come up with. It feels like the entire script was written in like one night, and then they were like not gonna revise it.
I gotta say, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I have to watch a lot of anime for our podcast that gets selected by other podcast hosts. So sometimes things are not really my cup of tea, but I have to watch them anyway. And this show, I actually like it quite a bit. This is a show that I will have to watch for my own podcast at some point because we're going to review it. But I don't know. I'm enjoying the show. I mean, not everything in it makes perfect logical sense, just like I didn't think a lot of things in Erased made a lot of sense, and I mentioned that because I think these anime are a little bit similar.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying the show. I think the main character is pretty good. I hope they don't jump back and forth through time too often because I don't want things to get too confusing the way that Steins Gate does. I just want to kind of chill out in one time or another, and if they want to go back and forth a few times, that's fine. But I'm just content watching delinquent kids beat the shit out of each other. I thought in episode 3, well, we're going to get to it, but, Takamichi, or whatever the hell his name is, he has a big dick moment in episode 3 that should get him laid, but I don't think it will. But that would be one way to change time. He could at least go back to the present and have lost his virginity.
Speaking of getting laid for a moment, does anybody find it weird to, go back in time and still have just as strong of a crush on on your girlfriend at that time when you have the brain 12 years later. Like, sure, I had girlfriends when I was 12 and 13, but if I were to go back in time now, I feel like it would be very difficult for me to muster up those same feelings.
Well, I think you go to jail probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be very weird and awkward, and I'd be like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
But
The justification I can think of is it was literally the only girl he ever cared about, and his life was such a miserable piece of shit that seeing such a positive ray of sunshine back in his life is probably enough to make him not consider that aspect. Also, he's not very smart. I don't know if you've realized this, but he is not a smart lad. Like, look at his hair. Look at his hair. He's not that smart.
Sure. Let's quickly cover what happens in episode 2, because it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Time travel back, and he time travels back to being mid-fight in a little fight club situation. He gets knocked out through one hit, and then he gets beat up by the third years, including the semi-leader of these third years, who grabs a bat and just is ready to murder this child.
He was Jose Canseco on his ass.
Yeah, it was real bad for him. Yeah, he's not having a good time.
I would tell you his name, but it genuinely doesn't matter.
Who knows? No one cares. Then later, school with friends, and it turns out that the fight for the next day I've written down this name. I regret it because they are also irrelevant. Takia, one of like the friends, right, is gonna fight, and they're like, oh, he's really frail though. But we all know that he's really frail, right? We all know this. This isn't just like what we're immediately establishing to try and get people to care about it right this moment, right? And so frail guy, he's getting ready for the fight. And I was thinking there might be a neat character moment with one of the ensemble with the redheaded friend who's sort of like the leader of their group. Instead,
the guy that said shit, I was about to pull out a shiv.
Not even a shiv, a full-on, like, long-ass pocket knife. And
I was ready. That could have been interesting. It would have made other characters the focus, which I would have appreciated. But instead, Takamichi is like, I'm done running. I'm gonna go get my ass kicked. Which, it's not, like, thought out at all. It's a big dick moment, as mentioned.
It was
big
a big
dick
dick. He took
moment.
his big dick out and laid it on the table and said, look at this big dick.
But it's a dumb dick moment. It's you pulled your dick out, smacked it on the table, but like the other guy just has a butcher knife and is ready to chop it off. And why? Why did you do that?
He's not
why
using it any other way. He's not,
Truth. And it's like, I'm done running, but that doesn't mean that the only path forward is to get your ass kicked more. Like, you can confront the situation in other ways.
I mean, he's pretty clear that, his task at hand is pretty difficult, and if he's gonna get it done, he has to not be such a pussy. I think is pretty much where we were.
But
with
I don't think the only way to not be a pussy is to get one's ass handed to them. Like, I think there's other options.
Well,
I think
the thing is,
there's
Remington,
more to the world.
The thing is, Remington, you're not thinking like a young Tokyo delinquent.
I'm not.
The most important thing when you're a young delinquent in Tokyo is that you've got to think about the manly aspect of every situation, and what's more manly than confronting the thing that you're most scared of head on?
I think that's like genuinely like the epitome of what toxic masculinity could be, being like, yeah, the only single exclusive way to show off masculinity, getting your ass whooped. That's the only way. That's it. That's the list. Like, there's a problem here. It just, I appreciate what they're going for, trying for the growth. He's overcoming his cowardice, but like, I'm also just of the opinion of if your life was getting your ass handed to you and being brutally beaten down day after day, removing yourself from that environment isn't just like, okay, like that is smart to do that. Get yourself out of there, man.
But how can you be a cool, badass Yakuza if you don't do these manly actions? I may or may not have been...
Takamichi is not going to be a cool, badass Yakuza.
We don't know. We don't know where the story's going. It could change.
If he turns into a badass Yakuza, then at some point, that Takamichi is not the same Takamichi, all right? They switched at some point.
Listen, after that big dick moment he pulled in episode 3, he's liable to, rectify... He's liable to erectify the moment that he missed out on before.
Damn it.
And he's going to go back to the fucking future. He'll be straight up Hugh Hefner, maroon robe and all. He's going to have a girl on his arm, a cigar in his mouth, and his feet all kicked up on a cushion.
Oh,
You just
man.
don't know.
Yeah.
Then we get to episode 3. We get introduced to Sano, who's the one of the two leaders, one of the current leader and one of the future leaders of the gang that kills Hina. And Sano like interrupts, ends everything, very forcefully befriends Takemichi. Is like, hey, I like your gumption, kid.
Yeah.
And joins with that. There's some scenes with Sano where like he takes Takemichi from class. Hina tries to stop it in a moment where it's like, look how much spunk Hina has. And then Takemichi comes to the conclusion like, hey, Sano isn't actually a bad guy. I mean, he does just not, he is like a literal sociopath who just likes hurting people for fun, but he's not that bad.
I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess I sort of feel like he likes Takemichi because of the sort of delinquent code of honor. You know, I think that it's definitely a cliche in other anime that having guts gets you somewhere with these types of delinquents. So, you know, so it makes sense that Sano would like him for that reason.
But then why does Takemichi suddenly think Sano ain't that bad of a guy? It's like, because Sano can enjoy the sunset? Is that all it takes to be not that bad of a guy?
He needs to remember that this guy killed his girl in the future, pretty much, so...
Well, you've got,
know.
there's, I believe this anime is slated for 14 episodes, if I'm remembering correctly. So there's plenty of time for that to come to a head, because, the whole point of this is to split these two potential characters up, and we'll have to see how that develops, because, I mean, there's still plenty of time for conflict. We have to remember that this is very early in the series as well.
Sure. I suppose my view is, thus far, the premise of the show, it's like delinquent anime with time travel. And I think the time travel is really poorly done and not well thought out, and that it, along with many of the characters and the like motivations for actions, are really stupid. And I don't think a delinquent anime is necessarily my style, because for me, personally, it feels like it lacks substance in any significant way. However, if you are into delinquent anime, I think it has enough to carry it through. If you just want to see middle schoolers beat the shit out of each other, it has that.
It's very good for that. It is quite good for that. Quite brutally too, I would say. It's not every day you watch a grown man pretending to be a middle school or be a small child with a bat, you know? It's just, it's not an everyday occurrence, and I appreciate that we get that in this anime.
But see, I think my problem is, even when that was happening, and it was like brutal and it was intense, I still didn't give a damn.
Oh my
Man, you gotta show Remy some of like the good delinquent shit. Like you gotta go for like GTO, you know.
Oh yeah, no.
You gotta get some of that in there.
Great Teacher Onizuka has been on the list for a while. It's just a matter of how much do I show him? How much in depth do we get into? And how do we talk about the things that are so outdated and uncomfortable in it? That's the tricky part with shows like that. But no, absolutely. I think I might bump it up just so I can get a little bit more delinquent anime under Remington's belt.
Are people talking about how Takemichi's like really 23 or whatever, but he's, you know, still
26,
interested in his...
yes.
God damn. He's 26?
Yes.
He looks younger
fucking
as
15.
a 26-year-old. As a 26-year-old, he looks younger than all of the middle schoolers he interacts with.
God, I take shits that look older than him.
Well, like I said, he peaked in middle school, man. Once you stop there, you stop growing in terms of visuals too, I guess.
Okay.
Are people discussing how he's like 26, but he's, you know, still, I guess, infatuated with like the young girl back in the past? I mean,
I feel like that
I
should
honestly
be
could see people
discussed.
complaining about that, you know, because people like to complain, but
I haven't heard anything yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if some people point that out. But yeah, no, it's.
I think it's fine, like, to continue to obsess over her a little bit, right? She was your one and only girlfriend. You had something, blah blah blah. And if you're like 26 years old and you're still thinking, like, it's a bit sad, but like I get it. It's just that if then theoretically in that case, I'm imagining you want the 26-year-old version of them and not the 12-year-old version of them. That's where I think it becomes weird. If you still are not over them and want the grown-up version of them that's grown up with you, sure, yeah, of course.
yeah, or, you know, he explains pretty clearly that he's in love with her. So I mean, you know,
I think
who am I to judge, really?
I think the way it's Careful there, Mitsugi. That's a dangerous path to travel. But I think the general idea is that I think his main goal, obviously, yes, he still has feelings for her, but I think the main goal is, one, to keep her alive. And if it develops into like growing, like the time is split into him growing up with her, then I think that's probably fine. If it does go a strange, creepy route, we'll know once the anime's finished, or I suppose we could go and read the manga, but that depends on how dedicated you are to getting this stuff done quickly.
Yeah.
Which I know Remington's not, and I know that no matter what, I'm gonna probably have to finish this anime again just in case we do a revisit. But
Oh God.
either way, it'll be interesting to see how these things unfold and see if the decisions made early on can be remedied and turned into a more coherent full story. Because as it stands,
Any final thoughts from you, Mitsugi? Because I think I've said everything I need to say. Because
I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to see where the story's going to go. I don't know how he's going to keep these two people from meeting because he can't babysit them all for their entire life. It would be easier if they define like a specific moment in time that the two actually met, and then you could kind of disrupt that one moment so that they don't make that connection. But it's difficult to sit there, be an angel or a devil or whatever on his shoulder for his whole fucking adolescence, and so that he can't meet this one person. I'm not really sure how they're going to sort of figure out how to do that, but I suspect that this anime that this isn't going to be the only obstacle that has to be crossed. He's probably going to keep them from meeting, and then he'll go back to the future and she'll still be dead, and then they'll have to figure out why, and then go back again and fix that thing. So I mean, that's kind of where I suspect we're going.
I think
I'm half expecting some twist at some moment, like him coming back to the present, and in some timeline, he is ultimately the one responsible for her death. That's what I'm just expecting that to be the case in at least one timeline.
Oh, that could be fun.
How long is this manga? Should we expect this anime to be pretty lengthy?
From what I can tell, it has 21 volumes. So,
okay.
Decent amount. I don't think they're going to get through all of that in this one season, because I think they only get 14 episodes. But if it does well enough, it might get a second core or second season, and we'll see where it goes from there. But speaking of seasons and how it's doing, any guesses from either of you on what the MAL score for this show is? It's a little hard to gauge these things because it's still pretty early on. The show's not finished, but it's always nice to have a idea of what the vast majority of weebs who care enough to write reviews about it on the internet seem to think.
I think they will like it a lot more than I did. I'm gonna say a 7.8.
Okay.
How many times out of 10 do people in general like the anime more than you do, Remy?
I would say solid. Well, 9 times out of 10. Yeah, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. There are quite a few exceptions where Remington has blown away that people don't like this as much as they do. I think Odd Taxi had that kind of effect on people.
That was wild. I expected that one to be more highly rated.
Yep, it's much more highly rated now.
I'm saying,
I will say that, but now that it's
I'm saying 7.8. What's your guess, Mitsugi?
Well, I actually already know what the score is.
But
what I will tell you is that we do a listener choice poll every season, and we let people pick we pick about we've changed the system recently, but we pick a handful of shows that we want to review, and then we let the audience pick a couple shows. So I know that this show is really well liked because it came in second place in a pretty stacked spring season, behind only the anime 86. So I know that people like this anime pretty well. So, I do go on my anime list to reference information and stuff. So I have seen the score on here. I'm not really surprised though. I think it's because I actually like this anime quite a bit. I think it's solid.
It sounds like I was too low in my guess.
So then let me ask you a different question, Mitsuki. Based on the first 3 episodes that you've seen, what would be your preemptive score for this show if you were going by the MAL system?
I'd probably give it like an 8.1.
Really? Fantastic.
Well, I mean, having been watching anime for way too long, because I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And so, I'm something like 20 years plus into watching anime. You see a lot of the same stuff all the time. It's not that uncommon to just watch an anime and you're like, you can rattle off 5-6 other shows that are exactly like the one that you're currently watching.
Yep.
I don't think Tokyo Revengers is really all that samey, to invent a word. I don't think, yes, there are time travel anime. Yes, there are delinquent anime, But this anime doesn't give me the feeling like, oh, I've seen this 15 times before. You know, the way that I'll feel the next time I watch like another isekai show.
Oh, God.
Or, you know, the next or the next time I
think
watch
a lot of
K-On!
our
or something
listeners
like that.
I think a lot of our listeners are going to be very happy that we had you on this episode because we just have such different views on like anime that are exemplified through our differences in opinions of Tokyo Revengers.
I mean, so like I said before, I'm looking at the full cast of characters of the delinquents here, and there's not one fucking pompadour. So I don't know how this happens. You can't even give me like one good curly Q pompadour, like I mean, I'm not asking for a lot here.
Truly a
We got a lot of
travesty.
slick back hair, we got a lot of like shaved heads and shit, but there's not one fucking pompadour.
Yeah, like the closest we
I'm-
do
I'm-
have to the pompadour is Atsushi, which is the redheaded one, where he kind of has one, but it's like limp and hanging down in front of his face, like all the way.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck this. I'm giving this show a 5 out of 10. There's no pompadours. It's yeah. But no, seriously, I think it's been quite enjoyable. I just, sometimes, and I've been watching a lot of Retro Crush, which is that TV service that has all the retro shit.
Yep.
Because it's nice to go back and watch old stuff from like the 80s because it's so different than anime now. It's like not even close to the same type of stuff. So you get like a very, it's very refreshing to watch something that's so different. And Tokyo Revengers is not quite as like different as something from like the late 80s or whatever, like like Goku Midnight Eye or something like that. It's not that like out of the box, but it's definitely not like something I've seen a bunch of times. And honestly, the dub was pretty good, and it doesn't look bad at all. I don't mind the character designs one bit. I can't really speak to the music much, but yeah, I think it's been pretty good. And this one will be, I think, an enjoyable watch when I do get around to watching all of it.
Yep. So just to clarify, Ram, you said it was like a 7.6. What was that?
I think I guessed 7.8 was my official
7.8.
Which already, in my mind, I was going higher than I thought it would be. I was like, I overestimated, but now it sounds like I still fell short.
Yeah, well, with about 123,000 viewers at the time of this recording, Tokyo Revengers is sitting nice and pretty at an 8.27.
Whew.
So quite a bit higher than
My
you
goodness.
anticipated.
I don't understand, but that's the norm.
It's okay, Ram.
If you look at the spring season, which again was loaded,
Yep.
for sure. Oh my God, Fruits Basket, the final season is now the 4th highest rated anime ever on this website.
Yes, it is.
That is-
And I mean,
Wow,
it kind of deserved it, honestly, in my opinion.
it
But
must be fucking good.
it is very good.
Tokyo Revengers is the 5th highest rated show from this season.
Yep.
So
Which is high praise. High praise indeed.
yeah, it was pretty loaded.
So, with that, I suppose the final question to ask both of you is: any chance you guys would be interested in watching more Tokyo Revengers?
I'd probably pass on that.
Not gonna.
I've seen enough.
Like all this
me
positive review from Mitsugi hasn't like made you at least a bit curious to see if it goes in a slightly different direction. You don't want to like temper your opinion for now and maybe see down the line if it improves.
Just let me know if there's a pomp, and if there is, send me a picture, and that's the most satisfaction I think I could muster.
What anime have you seen that where you watched it and you said, "Fuck yeah, I want to watch more of this"? Well,
I mean,
what was it?
there's been a couple, like Sean mentioned, one. Odd Taxi was one we saw a few episodes of, and definitely interested in potentially seeing more of that. Some like classics like Full Metal Alchemist was on that list as well. It happens. It does occur where I am
Super Lovers?
interested in watching more. We
No,
have not covered.
No, absolutely.
Oh no.
Oh, come on.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. No.
I mean, really, with a question like that, you just gotta take a step back, sit in a chair, think about it for a second, and just say to yourself, "Come on, come on."
All right, I'll put it to you then, Mitsuki. If you had to choose one show for us to cover on this podcast, what show would you want us to cover the most then?
From any possible show.
I mean, do you have a specific genre in mind, or is it just anything?
No,
at all?
just follow your heart. What would you want us to do.
I have a few shows that like I'm a big sucker for, and I recommend them to everybody. And I think it's a mixture of having seen them when I was younger, and so I have a soft spot. And also, I just think that they're good shows in their genres. I think that the 12 Kingdoms is a really great show. I think it's probably one of the best isekai world building shows that's out there. I'm a big just pusher of like one of my favorite animes that I recently bought I have some anime cells that I collect and I hang them up, and Golden Boy is one of my favorite animes. It's a little pervy, but it's pretty. I think it's fucking hilarious.
It's creative in its perviness.
I think it's the funniest show I've ever seen. And Crest of the Stars is a big fan favorite for me. I've recommended that to about 1,000 different people. Nobody listening to this show that listens to my podcast will be shocked by any of those picks. But Crest of the Stars is, it's a nice like romance space opera with some pretty cool like space battles in it. So and those are all except 12 Kingdoms is like 45 episodes, but the other two are pretty short. So
well, then maybe we'll have.
I would watch more of Tokyo Revengers. I'm not like flipping my shit over it, but I think it's really quite good, and I've seen a whole lot of shit that's not nearly this good lately, and so I'm definitely excited.
Fantastic.
So you can only watch so much Rent a Girlfriend before you just start to lose your fucking mind.
Yeah, we've covered that one, haven't we, Rem?
Yeah, yep.
So.
All right. Well, with that, thank you all guys for watching. Before we get out of here, though, Mitsugi, this is your chance to shine, to say to the world what you want them to know. Tell our audience all about yourself, about your podcast, your likes, your interests, what you like to do on a date, just little things.
I'm bathing in the warm light of the spotlight. It feels so good.
Oh, yeah.
So the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast was started like in July of 2009, I think. It was just a bunch of me and a couple of my close friends from college. We all did the anime club together, and we were all sitting around a table and, thought, why not? We can do a podcast. And I guess it's been like, it's pretty much 12 years later. I'm still doing the podcast. We've had a lot of hosts come and go. The general sort of mantra of, we're here to make your anime addiction worse has never really changed. And, I try to make the show feel as much like terrestrial radio as I can. So it has some of that feel to it. And we like to have fun. We have bonus content that we record too for people who want to, support us. But, if anybody wants to check out our podcast, it's over at aaapodcast.com. Of course, it's on iTunes. It's on, wherever the hell you watch or listen to podcasts. It's the Google Play, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, wherever. We're on Twitch on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just have a good time. We do it on Sundays. And, I hope some of you guys will come check it out. And we have a guy on our podcast that's not too different than Remy in terms of being a pretty serious critic. So I won't say who that is. You'll figure it out quickly. But
Perfect. So if you guys are interested, we strongly recommend that you go check him out. Thank you once again for joining us. It's been an absolute blast.
Mitsugi, you're welcome on anytime.
Thanks for having me. Oh, good. You better watch what you better watch what you promise. You might regret it later.
Oh, hey, man, I just, it feels nice having somebody to support me in my opinions every once in a while, Rather than tearing me down brick by brick, it's nice to have somebody who understands where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
Listen, if you guys ever do GTO or Golden Boy or Crest of the Stars or any of the other shows I've mentioned, then give me a holler. I'll be happy to come back and just gush like the biggest fanboy you've ever seen. It'd be embarrassing. You'll never have me on again after that, I promise. Just let me know. I'd be happy to come back and talk to you again about my love interests.
Fantastic.
In anime, so.
Well, thank you very much again for joining us, Mitsugi. We really appreciate it. And yes, like we said, go check out Anime Addicts Anonymous. It is a fantastic podcast, and I can't recommend it enough.
All right,
Thanks,
so now
guys.
we're gonna go and do patron stuff. So we're gonna stay on the call, but you can leave and be free.
Yeah.
You glorious son of a bitch.
I will fly like a bird and leave you to your biggest fans. So thanks again, guys.
Thanks again, man. It was a genuine pleasure.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Alrighty. Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed us exploring the deep intricacies of Let me try that again.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you were going for intricacies or eccentricities.
Both
or
at
what.
the same time, and it was not coming out that way.
All right, take 2.
All right. Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed listening to us to delve into the deep eccentricities of the high school teenage delinquent life, then please head on over to wherever you review your podcast, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and leave us a review. It means the world to us. It helps us get out to more people, and we can't thank you enough for doing so. But if you'd like to support us even more directly, we also have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/anime out of context, where you can gain access to lots of live action gameplay content, including some chatting content that is questionable at best. But if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to patreon.com/anime out of context, where you can gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to have Remington horribly mispronounce your name. And Remington, who are we thanking this week?
As always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on up, we reach the Yandere waifu tier, who are having us fight to the death to figure out who wins their love. And on that list, we have Walk Me Home Gently, Turtle Nation, Tsundere Dragon, Totally God, The World Shall Know Propane, Sorry Mother, Scissorum, Silent Secondary, Sean produces Leaders of Gamer Goo.
I hate
Sean
that.
Arrogay. Sean Arrogay is on NC in hiatus. Please send me your submissions at DForest on Discord. 1 sec. Please send me your submissions. I'll do this properly at DEForest-KY #4035 on Discord. So there we go. You can send your Arrogay submissions there, I guess.
No, thank you. You don't have to. Don't spam that poor person's inbox.
I feel like this may have been a bad decision for them. I don't know if they should have done that. Scoopy Loopy Boopy Doopy Hoopy Goopy Oopy, Sarah Birch, Sammy Pritchard, Salty Pretzel, Sequoia Faye, Remington Connoisseur of Anime Titties, Remington's Imaginary Friends, Remington Merrill, Rem you failed the name pronunciation test, Rem wants to be White Schwartzmeister, we really hit a bottleneck at Rem, Redneck Weeb, Ready to be Isekai'd, no I can't possibly say this name on the podcast, I'd rather watch every episode of Beastars than read this name, Navi, Matthew, my brother, unironically likes SAO Drum. Matt, I swear that's not my Joey Wheeler Daki Makra G. Makachop 92, Luke Offenberger, Lonely Geek 23. Let's do Death Parade. Parade? That's definitely not parade.
It is parade.
No, because it has a thing on the E. It has a thing on the E.
Yeah, no, that's just how they do it.
But it has
It does have a thing on the E, but...
Juan Horitos. Jax, Ichigo Sim 015. I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams. She says it's lack of sex bringing me down. I want to dress up like a shark and watch you chum. Oh, God. I believe in Taiga Isaka's supremacy. Hanakawa, Glenn Michael Dolan. Ghostly Bishi, I need more Joey Wheeler in my life. Gay as fuck, but without the fuck cause I'm ace. Gate Duck. Fuck of Love Foxen Boy. Fruit is the best V Shoujo girl. Fern the Sandwich Man. Farmer Weeb wants and Joey Wheeler. Hey, you thought this was an Eggfest reference, but it was me, Theo! That's a good one. That's a good one right there. Erica P. Dom Toretto is the best shonen pro tag. Data Type. Dark with Light. Darkswarm 713. Danny Morabito. Shy 900. Christian Moss. Christian Crawford. Cheese Monkey. Broke Bitch. Blake Dubin. Baby Bun. Ariel Bird. Apostle of the Church of Remington. Anime Duck. Anime Aunt. Andrew Rauke, Elise Howard, Alpha Weeb, Alexa Hickman, and Albert Avila. Thank you all so much. Moving on, we reach our Boy Wizard tier, celebrating Elijah Wood with everyone is getting their own Lord of the Rings based BuzzFeed quiz. We continue to scrape the bottom of the barrel every week, and we who knows when we'll fix it. We have Wolf. You are going to get, it's time to decide between Lord of the Rings hot guys and potato dishes from the gods.
What?
I don't even know what that one means, Wolf. Take it and let us know what the hell it's about. Rare Country Roads is the best Ghibli movie, Fight Me, Kumiko. Oh, and it was by Lego Forest, the quiz. We give credit here. Rare Country Roads is the best Ghibli movie, Fight Me, Kumiko. You're going to find out if you're more Hobbit or Elf by designing your dream Hobbit house. Feels a bit skewed, in my opinion. That's by Lilia. Then we have Pilkster, the Symphogear Advocate. You get, if you're a true Lord of the Rings fan, then you should know the correct spelling of these words by Aurelia of Mirkwood. MT the Poet, you are going to get Which Obscure Middle-earth Resident is Your Husband? That's a fun one. By Shalouz.
All right.
Miguel DeLeon, you're going to get Which Lord of the Rings character are you, a hobbit, dwarf, or elf? By Teddy Lupin 72. Kirigiri is Best Girl and Remington Needs to Know This. You are going to get Are you more like Legolas or Thranduil? Thranduil? Sean?
Nah, I'm just gonna let you suffer. Sit in that.
Fuck.
Piss off the Lord of the Rings fans while you're at it.
By Piper Thomas. Casa Morocco, you get to take This is which Lord of the Rings character you are based on your favorite snack. They're directly related. And that's by Michelle No. Justin Kessinger, you get Can you actually choose between these Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings characters? Hey, thank you for giving us a Harry Potter reference. We fucking needed this. By Freddie Apperly.
I mean, you have gone to just a different barrel at this point, so it's like...
It's the same barrel.
It's a barrel that's tangentially next to the other barrel. Like, some of the mold from the first barrel that has been completely eviscerated has seeped into the oak of the other barrel, and that's the closest thing we're getting right now.
Oh, God, yeah. I don't know how long this barrel is going to last, if I'm being honest. I live in Ogden, yes, that one. You are going to get Forge of Ring of Power and We'll Give You an Orc Name by Tim Unkenholz. That one's different. I appreciate it.
Dangerous.
I Call Bone Drew Daddy. You get Good Luck Choosing Between These Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter Scenes. By Joyful Owl 42. Hanata is a Ball of Sunshine. You get Which Lord of the Rings character are you based on the vacation you plan? By Hippensteel. Oh God, there's so many of you. And there's so many just quizzes that are just like trivia. Do you know Lord of the Rings? Hey, bet you don't. Bet you don't. For example, Enrique Perez Torres, you get Only Top Tier Lord of the Rings fans can actually name all 9 members of the Fellowship by Ali Hayes. They're just all so bad.
Well, I mean, you're the one who chose this to be the topic, so.
This came up when I searched for it on BuzzFeed, so this is the one that DJ Hires is gonna get. Your tater preferences will reveal which movie you should watch while you're stuck at home.
Spoilers, it's all Lord of the Rings.
It's all Lord of the Rings. Dedicated Sadist, How Garbage Are Your Lord of the Rings Opinions? By Freddie Apperly. Freddie, you've made quite a few of these. Declan Zachariah, you are going to get Pretend to be in Lord of the Rings, and we'll tell you if you successfully destroyed the One Ring. Darth Pikachu, you can only pick one character for every fandom, and I apologize in advance for how hard these decisions will be, by Ali Hayes. And that's it. Thank you, all of you. Those are some bad quizzes. Bad quiz. We really need different premise for this son of a bitch, but I'll keep scraping as much as I can. Moving on, we get to the White House with the Chevino Musco tier, where everybody is getting a combination of a famous criminal fusion dancing with a famous time traveler. So that's with that they're time traveling delinquents. That's how we're doing that.
Okay,
so,
sure, fine. Why not? They'll do the fusion dance, and this is what'll come out.
Yes. So, Zachary Shirley is open all 8 inner gates and 7 heavenly breaths unless there's a revisit to IQ. You get the combination of Al Capone, pretty good one, right? Fusion dancing with Fry from Futurama.
That's a mix.
It is quite the mix.
Frypone.
Good old Frypone. That's what you get. Silicon Spectre, you get H.H. Holmes. The first serial killer of America.
Also one of the most twisted.
Combined with Marty McFly. So good old time traveling murder at that point, and trying to bang your mom. It gets weird.
Moms.
It gets weird. Ralph Talia is my anime waifu. You are going to get Charles Manson.
Oh Jesus.
I know. Combined with Doctor Who.
I mean, the obvious one for that would just be like Dr. Manson, but I don't think we want to give him that kind of credit.
No, yeah, and so they both sort of have cults already. One definitely does. The other one, like, sort of.
Yeah, no, it's hard to debate whether or not Manson had a cult at that point.
All right, then, Peter Maciel, you're gonna get Ted Kaczynski.
Oh my Christ!
It's real fucked. This is sort of fucked.
This is incredibly cursed. What are you gonna do for your mother?
Oh God, I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. You are going to get Ted Kaczynski and Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So just double Ted right there for you, Pete.
Ted Ed.
And last but not least, my dear old mom.
Choose wisely.
Who is going to... We'll start with the time travel. That one's easier, I feel. My dear old mom is going to get, you know what? But let's get more Harry Potter. Hermione Granger. She's a time traveler.
Technically, yes.
Yeah. And, criminal. We're gonna go with, a lighter one for this one. We're not gonna get as
Heavy
intense
as some of the worst serial killers in the history of America.
Yeah, we're gonna go a little bit lighter. So it's going to mix Hermione Granger with Frank Abagnale Jr.
Okay.
Famous con man.
Okay.
Catch Me If You Can, if you're familiar. There we go. There we go. A lighter and happier one for my dear old mom. Thank all of you so much. If you'd like to reach out to us, and whether it's for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thanks again to the lovely Mitsugi for joining us. And as always, don't fuck your sister. My girlfriend is very much aware that Hitler is my celebrity chief. My girlfriend is very much aware that Mitsugi is my celebrity chief.
That's the motto of the episode. Treat your butthole right. I like the intrigue, the mystery. Not so fast. I mean, there was genuinely a time where Sean told me to watch a show, and by complete accident, I didn't watch the first season of that show.
Well,
It was a mess.
and what was that show?
It was Psyche K. I genuinely had no idea that I was watching the fourth season. Like, I was like, I feel like the pacing is a bit off. They aren't introducing things, but also, like, that's just what anime does a lot. It was a nice little mess of an episode.
My vendetta with Netflix and streaming services in general is that, you know, we all, well, the smart ones of us got rid of cable a long time ago, and
Yeah.
and now it's like, now I've got Hulu, Verve, fucking Netflix, Funimation, all this shit,
Yup,
and now I'm spending $40 a month anyway, and I still have to wait like an extra 6 weeks to watch Beastars. Go fuck yourself. I paid the goddamn money already. So
I support it.
yeah, man, I am not fucking around today.
Good.
I'm
Alright,
sleep
I'm recording.
deprived and ready to fucking go.
Oh, dude, same. I think you're supposed to drink it, but you know, whatever works for you.
Yeah, you should. You're not supposed to snort it. You could put it up your anus. You could stick it up your anus.
Hey.
Butt chug. People do coffee enemas. Why shouldn't they?
Let them live their life, Sean.
Why you always have to try to stop people from doing things like that? You should just let them do.
It's my body. I can shove whatever I want up my own orifices.
If I want to stick, you see, you're like, you know, it should at least be an espresso. You gotta treat your butthole right.
That's the motto of the episode. Treat your butthole right. That feels like it's the motto of a fast food restaurant. Treat your butthole right. Come on.
It's some kind of a party, a poopy party.
We haven't even started. It's already such a delightful mess.
Oh, I started recording a long time ago.
Oh, I've been recording too. It's just that it's not been like properly. We haven't done the official beginning. We've just been talking about coffee.
Nice, wholesome content. Now, if you'll excuse the pun.
Wholesome, get it?
Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
Yep. Comedy podcast hosts,
All right,
y'all.
Sean,
We're here to make people laugh.
Sean,
Let's go.
Sean, start the episode already.
Let's
Jeez.
go.
Alrighty, let's get started then. In 3, 2, 1, mark.